He could.
This is the Tom and Jerry Sports Show
on All Noise Radio.
I'm Jerry.
Go.
And I'm Tom.
Oh. What? Shoots and scores. What a play by What? Wait.
All Noise Radio. The noise you can't ignore.
You're listening to the Tom and Jerry Sports Show on All Noise Radio on the Live 365 app. We've been off for the last 2 weeks. We had, personal reasons. But I just wanted to say real quick, you don't have to listen to us on All Noise Radio. If you can't get there in time for the 5 o'clock, airing of it on Wednesdays and Fridays. Fridays is just a repeat of what's on Wednesday, so you don't have to plan both days. Like, it's not going to be a different show. It's going to be, the show for the week on Wednesday, and then it's just going to repeat on Friday. But as well, I have the show on pretty much every type of video website that you can go on. Like I always say, every week, it's on All Noise Radio and the Live 365 app. Live 365 app you can find on any phone. Literally, you go on. It's to get there. It's a little process. To get in, it's you click on talk, then you go to sports, then you go to All Noise Radio, and then it pops up. When you go on the website on the computer, you type in allnoiseradio.com, and then it comes up, with sports right there. You click on that, and the show will pop up. But we're like we've always said, we're on Instagram, Tom and Jerry, Tom, the letter N, Jerry Sports Show. I try to post here and there. I haven't done it in a while. We're on Twitter at the letter T, the letter N, the letter J, Sports. I like to tweet about different things, usually around big, sporting events, kind of like the NFL draft. I have insiders that I get, especially with the NFL draft, I get the draft picks before they actually come up on the TV. So, it's pretty cool. I have fun doing that. Trade deadlines, I try to, leak as much information as I get to pretty much all the followers. But if you can, just go follow us on, as I said, at letter T, letter N, letter J, Sports. We had our iTunes, we had our we had a podcast going on a while ago. Obviously that hasn't gone on because of money reasons, obviously. But if you wanted to listen to, I think we had 4 shows on iTunes. You just type in the Tom and Jerry Sports Show, and there's 4 of them that will pop up. You could just check that out. We don't have a Facebook anymore, but I'm also on Spreaker.com. That also got to the point where we had to pay, and we just didn't have the money for that. But if you would like to listen to the podcast, I think it's the same podcast that we had on iTunes. And then I think I put also the YouTube videos that we put on there. So if you want to go check that out, it's Spreaker.com at Jerry Naps. SoundCloud I had on there, SoundCloud.com, Jerry13. Podomatic was all the iTunes podcasts. You could go check that out if you want at podomatic.com/J Napoleonello. But one of our biggest things is YouTube, youtube.com / Jerry Naps. You get all my videos. I have other videos on there as well, but mostly the show. I usually put the show up. It'll usually come up right after, or maybe right before the All Noise Radio airing of it. I'm also on Vimeo.com, Break.com, and DailyMotion.com. These are all just the same videos that are on YouTube. If you want to check those out, on those websites, you're more than welcome to. YouTube, I put pretty much all my stuff that I've worked on, in my broadcasting career. So everything on YouTube is there, like I said, trying to get our name out there. I want to look into, maybe getting a sponsor or two to get back onto iTunes. I would love to get back onto iTunes, whether it be, just, paying for one of these websites to put our podcast on there and get a podcast going. If we could get a podcast going, doing it maybe every day or so, that would be amazing. Just because it's kind of hard having a show once a week. A lot of stuff go by, and and then to the point where you get into the studio, and I kind of forget what happened during that whole week in between. But like I said, we had 2 weeks off here. We kind of missed a little bit of it. Kevin Donlin has been doing the show with me. He'll probably most likely be doing the show with me for on and on, really, for the rest of the time that I have this show. Tom will be back whenever, and then I'm hoping to get the three of us into a show together. The name may change. I don't know yet. We'll have to see how that goes. But again, we're just trying to get our names out there. We're trying to, get something going. It's a very hard industry to get into. And basically, we're just trying to get our name out there. And, especially on YouTube, if you know us, if you're listening to us, if you know us, it would be greatly appreciated if you, post, whether it be All Noise Radio or our website, which is tomandjerrysportshow.webs.com. It has links for all the websites that we're on. It has our Twitter feed. It also has a calendar on when our shows will air, and a little bit of a photo gallery for us in the studio. But also, it's just, we just kind of want to spread our name. We're very knowledgeable in the sports category, and we would love to do this. This is our dream. And like I said, if you can, if you know us, or you're just listening to us, or you actually like listening to us, go ahead and if you're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is, just post our link, whether it be a certain show on YouTube, or, just the website when our show is going to be airing, anything on Twitter. Just getting our name out there is greatly appreciated. We need that spreading for us. We can all, just do so much. It's nice for some help as well. But like I said, youtube.com/JerryNaps. You'll find out all our shows. Sometimes we don't get our show up there, but I mean, like the last time we were in the studio on All Noise Radio, our show did not air. The week before it aired. The show from the week before aired instead of the show that we recorded that week. If you kind of were wondering what happened, it's on YouTube. The regular show that we did the last time we were in the studio, it's on YouTube. So, you could check that out. Us being off for these last 2 weeks or so, we missed the biggest thing really going on in football is the deflategate. It's a big problem. Tom Brady was handed a 4-game suspension, and the New England Patriots were actually punished as well, having to give up a first-round draft pick and I believe a fourth-round draft pick. And they were fined $1 million, which is the highest fine for a team in NFL history. So they played this out to be a very big situation for the league. In my opinion, I don't see it. I don't see why it's such a big problem. You know, I mean, I can't say that he's a cheater. In my opinion, I don't think he's a cheater. I mean, the amount of, the ball had a little bit different PSI. 11 of their 12 balls were, messed with. But again, every which one of the balls that were messed with weren't at like a certain amount of PSI. They were just kind of, deflated a little bit. But then also you hear from, all different kind of, ex-players, retired players, Hall of Fame players that it's been happening for a very long time in the NFL. And, you got to kind of think about it, like, why, I do. Do I think it helped them in the AFC Championship game? Maybe. Do I think it's the reason that they moved on into the Super Bowl? Absolutely not. The Colts had to play that game also. They had their own balls, and they still only scored 7 points. Andrew Luck played terrible in that game. So when you're talking to me about it, it's kind of hard for me to take the stance of, oh my God, he's a cheater. I don't see him as a cheater. I've always liked the way the Patriots play the game. Bill Belichick coaches the game. Tom Brady plays the game. I love watching Tom Brady play. And I still think he's the greatest of all time. And I'm always going to say that. I always feel that way. Obviously, I didn't live in that era of, Dan Marino. Well, I did, but I wasn't, comprehending, obviously, because I was very, very young. But, the Dan Marino years, Joe Montana, guys like that, that you would put up there as the greatest of all time. But with Tom Brady, I mean, you got to see the competition that he has. I mean, I feel like the competition has gotten even better, faster, stronger, everything. And I just think, with the whole pass interference and, you can't touch the wide receiver, that you give that advantage to Tom Brady rather than Joe Montana and Dan Marino and guys like that. The things that he still does on the field, I mean, is amazing. I mean, and I give it up to Bill Belichick as well because, I mean, the way that he coaches the game is just unparalleled to anybody. But again, I don't see him as a cheater. I don't see the Patriots as cheaters. They got caught, I guess. And, and the famous line is, everybody hates the best. You got to put that, he didn't win a Super Bowl because of the deflated balls. He didn't win all these other Super Bowls because of deflated balls. You can't prove that. But when I get back, I'm going to keep talking about this, and then we'll get into NHL playoffs and maybe some of the NBA playoffs and some baseball. You're listening to Tom and Jerry Sports Show on All Noise Radio on the Live 365 app. Keep it locked.
Our jobs occupy more than half our waking hours. Shouldn't we be doing something we love? Call Connecticut School of Broadcasting at 1-800-TV-RADIO or log on to gocsb.com. Since 1964, Connecticut School of Broadcasting, with a network of 12 campuses from Massachusetts to Miami, has helped place thousands of grads as DJs, sportscasters, entertainment reporters, behind the scenes in audio and video production, every aspect of the broadcast media. Connecticut School of Broadcasting has trained men and women of all ages and backgrounds in a matter of months, not years. Learn by doing from area radio and TV pros. Call 1-800-TV-RADIO or log on to gocsb.com. Remember, It's never too late to love what you do. Day and evening classes begin soon. Get trained. Get connected now.
And welcome back to the Tom and Jerry Sports Show on All Noise Radio and the Live 365 app. Before I took the break, I was talking about the whole Tom Brady and deflategate and everything like that. You know, to the point now, it's kind of getting annoying talking about it over and over again. As I said, he's going to get a 4-game. He's got a 4-game suspension going right now. Robert Kraft actually just came out and said that the Patriots will not appeal, and they will serve the punishment. They will give up the first-round draft pick, the fourth-round draft pick, I believe, and then $1 million. But it doesn't have anything to do with Tom Brady's suspension or appeal. He did send in an appeal. We'll see how long that takes. I mean, you know, Greg Hardy sent in his appeal almost a month before Tom Brady, and they still haven't heard back from, you know, with Greg Hardy. But with Tom Brady, I've been hearing that he may get it knocked down to 2, and it has a very good chance that he will not get a suspension and will end up playing from week 1. Who knows? We'll see what happens. I highly doubt that Tom Brady will do what the Patriots have done. I don't think he's going to pull his appeal. I think he's going to fight this. I mean, the Patriots, I think Garoppolo will get some wins, you know, in the spot of Tom Brady for the first 4 games. I think he could get at least 2 wins. They do play the Cowboys within those 4 games suspension that Tom Brady has. Am I happy about it? Yeah. I mean, we don't have to play Tom Brady. That's amazing. But also, you like to beat the best. You like to, you know, play the Super Bowl champions. You like to beat them. I mean, we did it last year. You know, we played the Seahawks. We beat the Seahawks in Seattle, which is even bigger of an achievement. But I mean, you like to play the best. Patriots are, you know, the reigning champion. They have a target on their back now. Especially, I mean, the Patriots always have a target on their back, but they're just gonna have an even bigger target because they're Super Bowl champions, and then an even bigger target because they got caught cheating. I guess you could say cheating. But I mean, the talk about pulling him from the Hall of Fame is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, let's be serious. You know, if you're going to pull him from the Hall of Fame, I mean, then you really got to look at these players that are in the Hall of Fame. And I mean, come on, let's be serious. I mean, there's guys in the Baseball Hall of Fame that were, you know, all coked up, you know, when they were playing, you know, football players, you know, a.k.a. Lawrence Taylor. I mean, let's be serious now. And I'm not saying that it's a performance-enhancing drug or anything like that, but it's a drug that, I mean, you're insane. That's basically what it is. I mean, you're a nut job. You don't, you know, I mean, it's just, if you're going to look at different things, then you're going to have to look at all of it. You can't just pick, oh, well, he deflated some balls, we're holding him back from the Hall of Fame. And I even think that Pete Rose should be let into the Hall of Fame. I mean, let's be serious now. Come on. Guy's got the most hits in MLB history, and you're not going to let him in because of the whole gambling thing? I mean, come on. Do I think Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, Barry Bonds, Alex Rodriguez should be in the Hall of Fame? Absolutely. They should be. Absolutely. Do I look at, you know, the whole steroids thing? And I've made this, you know, very, very big, you know, in some of the shows that we have done, and we've talked about this over and over again. But I mean, do I look at steroids as a bad thing for baseball? I mean, trust me, I'm not sitting here condoning it. I'm not telling people, oh, go out and do steroids. I'm not doing that. But baseball was a very, very interesting game when the steroids were involved. Allegedly, at least. Allegedly involved. I mean, I ask people all the time. I ask them, what was your favorite part, what was your favorite era of baseball? And almost all of them have said the home run chase between Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa. I mean, I was young at the time. I was, maybe, I think I was probably in 6th grade or something like that. And I mean, I could, it was such a fun time in baseball. It really was. I mean, everything was baseball, everything. Now people talk about, how baseball is, boring or it's unexciting or, whatever people say. I mean, I love the sport. I will always love the sport. I love pitching gyms. I love, 10-run, wins and stuff like that. I love it all. I love baseball. Baseball is one of my favorite sports. It is my favorite sport. So it's just, in a way, I loved it at that time, but I love it all the time. But as a whole, people that weren't into really baseball were into baseball at that time. I mean, I think you could even say that about the whole Barry Bonds chase. People were watching. I mean, when you're watching SportsCenter and you could see on the bottom where the ticker is, and it says, and Barry Bonds has his own, category, or Mark McGwire has his own category, or, stuff like that. Like, it's fun. It's fun watching players go for records. I mean, just when, Derek Jeter was going for 3,000. I mean, that was the biggest thing in baseball. Everybody was watching for that. And then to watch him do it on a home run, I mean, it was like, seriously, come on. How does baseball get any better than that? But you want to, you're talking about trying to get this sport to keep going and everything. And I'm not saying, oh, you know what, start doing steroids. But, I mean, the whole, 50-game suspension and a whole year suspension and all this stuff, first of all, you're making a worse of a name for your sport. I mean, they got such a black eye with this whole, with that whole, Mitchell report. That was such a black eye for baseball. It was such a turnoff for everybody that really, were kind of occasional fans. It was such a black eye that people just stopped watching it. And I even go back to the whole NHL when, NHL went on that strike. That was such a black eye for them because you lost those fans. I mean, it's starting to pick up again. You could see that the fans are coming back into it. The occasional fans are starting to watch again. I mean, it's only a matter of time before you start seeing NHL being played on ESPN again. You'll start seeing it play on ESPN and, the playoffs and all that stuff. I mean, hockey is such a great sport to watch. Hockey is such a great sport to, even if you were to play it, it's just such a interesting game. It's so fast paced. It's so, you're never bored watching hockey. I mean, there's always action, whether it be a hit into the boards or, a fight or, a goal scored or, a puck off the post or a goalie with a crazy acrobatic save. Hockey's always fun. Always fun to watch. It's always interesting. And I mean, and I have always said it. playoff hockey is better than any other playoff sport. I mean, basketball is at a high right now of everybody saying how good these playoffs have been. I haven't watched a game yet. I have no interest in watching a game. And me and Tom have talked about it. Basketball kind of got boring. I mean, the whole super teams and stuff like that. It's just getting ridiculous, and it's getting boring. Basketball is one of those sports that you can have one player that's dominant, and he could give you 25, 35 wins by himself. You don't see that in any other sport. Baseball, a pitcher only pitches every 5 games. Your best hitter is only up every nine at bats. Quarterback is the next step up to basketball, but it's not even close. Because there's 10 other players on the field at the time, and he's off on defense. So, basketball, it's to the point where, you have that top player, but why do you guys have to have 3 other top players on the team? It's crazy. It just got boring to me. It really did. Basketball, I loved it. I loved the time of, obviously I'm a Lakers fan, so I'm obviously going to love the time, but, I loved the time of Kobe and Shaq. I mean, it was just, like I said, you had two powerhouses there, but I mean, Kobe was young. He wasn't what he is now. Well, a couple of years ago, but he was getting there. But it was fun. It was fun to watch. Robert Horry hitting a 3 against the Kings. Derek Fisher, throwing up a little prayer with 0.2 seconds left against the Spurs. Against the Blazers, you have, the alley-oop with Kobe and Shaq. And Shaq running down the court with his arms, up in the air. That was fun. It was fun watching the Lakers back then. You had the Timberwolf-Laker rivalry with, Kevin Garnett. It was fun. It was just fun to watch, and basketball is just not fun anymore. It's not fun to watch for me, at least. I love Kyrie Irving. I love Kevin Love. But to put them on the same team as LeBron James, I mean, come on. LeBron James is the best player in the world. Why does he need these 2 players? Why does he need that? It was like when they were with the Heat. I mean, it was just boring. So boring. When you have Chris Bosh hitting 3s, I mean, how are you going to beat that team? It's just ridiculous. I would love to see the Cavs lose. That's I would love that. I would love that. But I'm going to take a break. I'm going to get into the NHL playoffs when I get back, and some Yankees and Mets. You're listening to Tom and Jerry Sports Show on All Noise Radio on the Live 365 at Keep It Locked.
We coming to get you, so get the message to all coppers that you need protection or you better have
Connecticut School of Broadcasting founder Dick Robinson.
The media business has changed a lot since we opened our doors in 1964. Now media content is everywhere, on air, online, on the go. More than ever, companies are looking for people to help drive this new media.
At Connecticut School of Broadcasting, you'll get hands-on training on the latest software and equipment in a matter of months, not years. Connecticut School of Broadcasting has placed thousands of grads in broadcast media careers.
It's all about versatility. You see, at a radio station, if you you also know how to shoot, edit, and post videos, you become a pretty hot commodity. That's the training you get at Connecticut School of Broadcasting.
Connecticut School of Broadcasting with locations up and down the East Coast from Massachusetts to Miami. Call 1-800-TV-RADIO or log on to gocsb.com. Connecticut School of Broadcasting, the nation's oldest and largest group of broadcast media schools. Redefining training in radio, TV, and new media. Get trained. Get connected. 1-800-TV-RADIO.
Hey mama, I made it to the bright lights and stages. I remember I was so impatient.
And welcome back to the Tom and Jerry Sports Show on All Noise Radio on the Live 365 app. Before I went to break, I was talking about the NBA. A little bit more into the NBA. We got tonight, Tuesday the 19th, we have the NBA Draft Lottery. 14 teams are invited into the lottery. They're the non-playoff teams. They're arranged in order of, the teams that, have the worst records have the higher probability of earning one of the top 3 picks. The best probability, best percentage of a team is the Timberwolves. They were 16 and 66. They have 25% of getting that first pick. The Knicks are second, 17 and 65, with 19.9% for that first pick. Sixers, 18 and 64. They have a 15.6%. Lakers, 21 and 61, 11.9%. Magic, 25 and 57, 8.8%. Kings, 29 and 53, 6.3%. The Nuggets, 30 and 52 with 4.3%. Pistons, 32 and 50 with a 2.8%. Hornets, 33 and 49 with a 1.7%. Heat, 37 and 45 with a 1.1%. Pacers, 38 and 44, 0.8%. Jazz, 38 and 44 with a 0.7%. Suns, 39 and 43 with a 0.6%. And the Thunder with 45 and 37, 0.5%. Now, these are big for teams. I mean, like a team like the Lakers, if they were to get like a number 1 pick, they could change a team, that whole team around right away. Like that could be a playoff team right away. You got to think you're getting back Kobe. You have all the money in the world now to sign whoever they want. I'm hearing Kevin Love probably. LaMarcus Aldridge is a free agent. I would love to see them pick him up. He's one of my favorite players. Guys like that. I mean, a first round pick, and then 2 of those guys or so. You change a team around right away. I mean, the Knicks have some problems. They need to they need a lot more than a first round pick. Same thing with the Timberwolves. You got Wiggins. That's a big difference. I mean, he's a hell of a player. He's going to be a hell of a star in this league. So these teams. You're obviously going to look at the Timberwolves or the Knicks in, 1 or 2. I could see the Knicks end up dropping to like 3 or 4 because that's just the Knicks' luck. I would love to see the Lakers in the top 2. It would be amazing. But yeah, you could check it out. I think it's tonight at 8 o'clock or so on ESPN. You could definitely check that out. 8:30 on ESPN. You're looking at at least these 2 top players, Kentucky's Karl Towns and Duke's Jahlil Okafor. So keep an eye on that. But we're going to get into the NHL playoffs now. Before, our 2-week break here, we were still in the second round. Obviously, we're in the conference championships now. So the second round, I'm just going to go over it real quick. You had the Ducks ending up beating Calgary 4-1. You had Blackhawks. I think we got over this. Blackhawks swept the Wild. Then you had the Rangers and the Capitals go into Game 7. Ended up winning in overtime to take Game 7, go into the Eastern Conference Finals against the Lightning, who beat the Montreal Canadiens 4-2. So right now we got the second round. You got the Ducks and the Chicago Blackhawks. Well, I mean, the Western Conference Finals, the second round. I mean, this is... I was looking at a title here, but I was looking at it wrong. You got Western Conference Finals, the Anaheim Ducks and the Chicago Blackhawks. The Ducks lead the series 1-0 with a 4-1 win the other day. They play tonight in Anaheim again, 9 o'clock. And last night, the Lightning tied up the series with a 6-2 victory over the Rangers. Their next game is tomorrow, Wednesday, which you'll be listening. So it'll be tonight then, 8 o'clock. And like I said, I've said this from the start. Either one of these teams were going to give the Rangers a little bit of trouble. I mean, their goalies were amazing. And Ben Bishop has been playing out of his mind. At the time, Carey Price was unbelievable. We kept on bringing up stats of over this, the regular season. I think Kevin brought up a point of where the Toronto Maple Leafs, who were definitely in the bottom of the league, they had the same amount of goals as Montreal. And Montreal was, I think, the 1 or the 2 seed. I think it was like the 2 or the 3 seed in the Eastern Conference. And they, they did that because of Carey Price. I mean, Carey Price played out of his mind this year, and obviously that's the reason why he's up for the Hart Trophy, with John Tavares and Alexander Ovechkin. I mean, that's how much a goalie can change for a team. I mean, having a goalie like that is just amazing. I mean, just imagine if they actually scored for him. I mean, and I always expressed my problem with the Rangers, and I still feel that they got here because of Max Talbot, but Henrik Lundqvist ended up coming back before the playoffs. He's been playing very well. He definitely surprised me. He's been playing very well. He took a beating in yesterday's game against the Lightning with a 6-2 loss, but I mean, he's been playing out of his mind. The Rangers themselves have been playing very well, very, very well. I didn't see this coming. I kind of was hoping that it wouldn't come. The fact that they're, 3 wins away from getting into the Stanley Cup kind of scares me a little bit, but that's the nightmare of every New York Islanders fan. Let alone moving to Brooklyn next year. But this series moves to Tampa now, Wednesday and Friday, then goes back to Madison Square Garden on Sunday. Tampa Bay can end it. Actually, no, they can't. I don't know why ESPN has a star next to Game 5, because it's not like they're definitely going back to New York. So you're looking at Wednesday and Friday in Tampa. Then Sunday you have in MSG. Tuesday you're back in Tampa, and then Friday for Game 7 back in MSG. All 8 o'clock starts. This series has been kind of interesting. I mean, the first game was definitely a very close 2-1 game. Same thing with Anaheim and Chicago. I feel like this is going to be a great series. I mean, it's going to go back and forth. I always liked watching Western Conference playoffs, because it's just it's a whole different kind of play compared to the Eastern Conference. It's weird. Like if you know hockey, you can tell it right away just by watching both sides, both conferences. It's weird, but you definitely tell it right away. I mean, Chicago is just a very, very good team. I mean, Patrick Kane, we didn't even think he was going to end up making the playoffs, and he made it back, and I mean, it's like he never even got hurt. They're going to need him definitely in this series. Anaheim's going to be a tough team. They really are. And Corey Crawford has to play very well for Chicago to win this series. And at first, watching Chicago, I just felt like they were going right back to the Cup. Did I think they were going to lose 4-1 to Anaheim in Game 1? I did not think that at all. I thought Chicago was actually going to win that game. But again, it's in Anaheim. Blackhawks are definitely going to have to take Game 2 tonight. They need that. Because it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. I see this series either going 6 or 7. The same with the Lightning and Rangers. With the Lightning, it's all up to Ben Bishop, really. And I guess with the Rangers, it's all up to Lundqvist as well. But Tyler Johnson has been playing very, very well for Tampa Bay. He had another 2 goals, I believe, in yesterday's game. I mean, he's just been playing out of his mind this playoffs. He really has. I mean, it's been unbelievable to watch him play. The Rangers just don't have that prolific scorer in the playoffs right now, and you would hope that Rick Nash would actually show up, and he really hasn't. And it's sad because he's such a good player in the regular season. I mean, he was up there. I think he was number 2 or number 3 in goal scorers this year. And I think he's got maybe 2 in the playoffs, which is bad. I mean, a guy like that has to be taken over. He really has to. You can't go through the playoffs with just 2 goals from your top scorer. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Rangers themselves haven't been very great scorers the last couple of years. It's weird, and I said it when Max Talbot got hurt. When Max Talbot came in for Lundqvist, when Lundqvist got hurt, and they went on that run, they were actually scoring goals. And I don't know what it is. It's some kind of, I don't know if it's a mentality or it's just a coincidence, but they don't score for Lundqvist. They score for Talbot. They don't score for Lundqvist. But, I mean, after this year, the Rangers are going to kind of be in trouble. I mean, they're going to start losing players. I doubt they sign back St. Louis this year. I doubt that's going to happen. And you're going to lose Talbot. I mean, unless you want to pay him a crazy amount of money, you're going to lose him. And he's young. He's very young. He's a very good goalie, and he's very young. He's going to want money because of what he did this year to get them into the playoffs. It's going to be tough, and they got to pay the other guys as well. I think they got to pay Stepan, and I don't know if Kreider's up or not, but I mean it's going to be fun to see. This is, and we've always said it. The Rangers are in win now mode with some of their moves, but we'll see what happens. But they're definitely going to lose Talbot. I don't think they're going to sign him back. I don't think they're going to be able to. But we'll see when the offseason rolls around. Hopefully they're not Stanley Cup champions. We'll see. When we get back, we'll talk about some baseball. You're listening to Tom and Jerry Sports Show on All Noise Radio on the Live 365. Keep it locked.
And one of y'all looking young, so can I see your ID? Angelic physique, she ain't been body than weeks, and I can tell that it's sweet just by the way that she speak, man. Just let me know.
All Noise Radio.
Powered by the Connecticut School of Broadcasting. All Noise Radio is an internet radio station that's fully produced by graduates of the Connecticut School of Broadcasting. From modern rock to old school hip hop, country to classical, news, talk, sports, and more. It's the noise you can't ignore. Log on to allnoiseradio.com. Fire up the station. Find out more about your favorite jocks. Get the latest CSB news and more. Plus, you can take All Noise Radio with you on the go for free. Just download the Live 365 app to your iPhone, iPod Touch, or BlackBerry and search All Noise Radio. Check out tomorrow's broadcasters today at allnoiseradio.com. Powered by the Connecticut School of Broadcasting.
I will fight till I take my last breath. I got the heart of a warrior. The heart of a warrior.
And welcome back to the Tom and Jerry Sports Show on All Noise Radio on the Live 365 app. I was talking about the NHL playoffs when I took the break, but I'm going to move into just other news, miscellaneous news really. Like I said, the Patriots won't be appealing their team penalties. They're going to take that $1 million fine and lose their first and fourth, I believe. Also, you got Everett Golson, the Notre Dame quarterback, is transferring over to Jameis Winston's old team, Florida State. Obviously, being that Jameis Winston moved into the NFL draft and then onto Tampa Bay with the number 1 pick, Florida State was needing a quarterback, and Everett Golson will be going to Florida State this year. And he's had his problems the last couple of years. He took his team to a bowl and then ended up getting hurt and then suspended the whole year and had kind of a terrible season last year. But as I said, quarterback Everett Golson from Notre Dame will be transferring over to Florida State. And then you got some baseball news. Yankees Masahiro Tanaka will begin his rehab assignment on Thursday at AAA, which is it's very nice to see him going straight for AAA because usually if it's a big time injury and he needs more, usually you start seeing them start in single A, move up to double A, and then do like 2 in AAA. So I'm going to guess he at least does 2 starts in AAA before coming back. He's been out since April 3rd with a forearm injury. At first, they were talking about that being a precursor for Tommy John surgery. And he's been going through it. I mean, obviously last year they said he had a UCL tear, slight tear of it. UCL is when you get a UCL tear, that's automatic Tommy John surgery. In a way, I kind of wish right away they took him and put him on the DL, made him get the surgery, and obviously he'll miss this whole year and then come back maybe next year, maybe the middle of the year next year, like Ivan Nova is going to do this year. But they've been trying to rehab it and all this stuff. I mean, he was pitching well before he had the pain in his forearm. But going into Tommy John surgery and everything like that, ESPN had an article that I was reading before, just pretty much saying that pitchers will always have Tommy John surgery. Tommy John surgery will always be in Major League Baseball. It'll never go anywhere. Just because, I mean, when you're looking at a pitcher and the whole thing with Tommy John surgery and the elbow, and it's almost, first of all, your arm is not supposed to be going in that direction. So it gave a few like bullet points. I'm gonna kind of go over a few of them here. Number one, it's everything a scout wants. It's a 94-mile-per-hour fastball, a changeup with tail, and a slow curveball with a 1-7 shape. It's command to both sides of the plate. It's a tall body, a pitcher's body. It's a deception of a left hand obscured by a rock and roll delivery and a soft closed stride. It's any pitcher at any count. It's the best amateur pitcher in the world. 17-year-old Brady Aiken on a high school field in San Diego months before baseball's 2014 draft. A future big leaguer dominating future estates, lawyers, and future math teachers and future landscapers. Its potential, and it's a beautiful and fragile thing as baseball can create. When we throw overhand, it puts what's called valgus stress on the arm, which is a fancy way of saying the elbow is trying to bend in an unnatural direction. And when somebody throws 95 miles per hour, it creates so much valgus stress that the forearm essentially wants to detach from the body, if it could. It would simply fly into space, but 1 2-inch ligament in the elbow holds 2 bones together and keeps the forearm in place. It's a pretty important screw, but a ligament is not muscle. It can't be strengthened through exercise as well as muscle can be. It also is not a bone, which will adapt to stress placed upon it. Ligament is just fibrous tissue, and an elite pitcher's ligaments are pretty much the same as yours and mine for one reason. There is little he can do to make it better. So right there just shows you, first of all, the ligaments cannot be strengthened. Your ligament is your ligament. Basically, Masahiro Tanaka or, as recent as Chase Whitley, they're just like us. Normal people. They have the same elbow as us. They might be a little stronger because they worked out, but that ligament is the same as anybody else's. You're putting so much force on that one little ligament that it's going to get to a point where it's going to tear. And they did some calculations, and it said the force exerted on the elbow ligament in the 0.03 of a second of acceleration during a pitch. If a human were exposed to that for 60 seconds, he'd die. So the ligament is pretty tough. It's just not getting any tougher. I was, and then going on to this, they were talking about, this thing called Game of Inches, written by Peter Morris. They were talking about how baseball first started out. I mean, pitchers were throwing underhand. It was, the motion pretty much similar to throwing a horseshoe. That's how baseball was. That's how baseball was played. Underhand. Kind of like softball. But as the years went on, the teams were trying to kind of get an advantage, and they would start throwing from their hip, or it got to the point where the teams were actually putting their pants all the way up and their belts all the way up so that their waist looks higher and that they could throw it higher. Then it got to a point where they ended up throwing overhand. This was the quote that I was just talking about. New restrictions were imposed, and the pitchers found ways to avoid them. They were allowed to throw from the hip, but the liberalized rule only encouraged many of them to try to get away with still higher release points than the waist. They hiked their pants up their belts deceptively high. Eventually, all major leagues conceded and allowed pitchers to throw overhand. Though it was thought even then that this would cause pitchers to get hurt, it was found useless trying to contend against the advances of the pitcher. So, that's, and then in 1987, James Andrew, hired a biomechanics expert, and they, just kind of looked through it. And I mean, James Andrews is the guy that basically does every major surgery in sports for athletes, whether it be ACL tears, MCL tears, UCL tears, shoulder surgeries, whatever it is. I mean, the way the Tommy John surgery works, I believe, they take a stronger ligament out of whether it be your leg or, something like that. And it's actually a tendon. It's known in medical practice as ulnar collateral ligament, which is the UCL reconstruction. It's a surgical graft procedure in which the ulnar collateral ligament in the medial elbow is replaced with a tendon from elsewhere in the body. So it just makes it stronger. I've heard of some instances where pitchers were right away getting Tommy John surgery before getting into whether it be college or before getting into the pros, just because it makes them stronger. And Tommy John surgery is not just for baseball. Drew Brees was one of them in football that got Tommy John surgery. And before he got hurt, he was obviously a decent quarterback. He was a very good quarterback. But after the Tommy John surgery, I mean, look, this is what he is now. This is the reason why he is now. I mean, just look at Matt Harvey, Tommy John surgery. He's coming back better than ever. You look at this surgery, and you obviously it's a big time surgery, especially for a pitcher, because obviously you're using your arm. So it usually takes a year to really recover from it. Then you have to do rehab starts and stuff like that, and you have to rehab it and all this stuff. Strengthen your arm up again, and it's just, it comes down to, when you're younger, it comes down to having the time off. Like when I was talking about the biomechanics and James Andrews talking about, they were talking about how the problem, they say, is it starts in the teenage years with players who throw harder than ever and don't ever take a month off. They're saying, pitching in off-season industry showcase events instead of resting is risky. Pitching year-round on travel ball teams is risky. Throwing too many innings in a year is risky. Throwing hard is risky. Being good so that you're asked to pitch at an industry showcases is risky. Being good so that you're asked to pitch for travel ball teams is risky. Being good so that you're asked to pitch a lot of innings is risky. Being good by having the ability to throw hard is risky. So when you look at all of this stuff, and obviously going back to your teenage years, your high school, I mean, I played high school baseball, and you like to win. The coaches are all worried about winning, that you're going to throw your best pitcher out there for your most needed games. It just comes down to that, and they're going to pitch as much as they can. It's not like the Little League World Series where you have a pitch count, and then you have to take a certain amount of days off. High school is, you pitch. If you have to pitch 2 days in a row, you're going to pitch 2 days in a row. That's just how it is. It's whatever your coach says, and players play by that. But I thought it was interesting. Hopefully, you guys check out the article. It's on ESPN right now. That will do it for the show. Thank you for sticking with me. This is the Tom and Jerry Sports Show on All Noise Radio and the Live 365 app. I'm Jerry B. Breezy. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Tom and Jerry Show.
Our jobs occupy more than half our waking hours. Shouldn't we be doing something we love? Call Connecticut School of Broadcasting at 1-800-TV-RADIO or log on to gocsb.com. Since 1964, Connecticut School of Broadcasting, with a network of 12 campuses from Massachusetts to Miami, has helped place thousands of grads as DJs, sportscasters, entertainment reporters, behind the scenes in audio and video production, every aspect of the broadcast media. Connecticut School of Broadcasting has trained men and women of all ages and backgrounds in a matter of months, not years. Learn by doing from area radio and TV pros. Call 1-800-TV-RADIO or log on to gocsb.com. Remember, it's never too late to love what you do. Day and evening classes begin soon. Get trained. Get connected now.